Hi, and welcome to my Adventures with MS, or Multiple Sclerosis. In this video, I will cover the steps that I take when flying with a wheelchair. Obviously, the best advice is to check with the airline that you are flying. Based on my experience, I will be focusing on Air Canada and their steps. I have checked a few other airline websites, and it appears that they ask for the same basic information. Before I get to step one, I will begin with a tip. Once you've found the flight and time that you want or are interested in, take a look at the plane's layout. So there is a link somewhere on that screen when you're searching for your flights, and it will then take you to the screen, which shows you all of the different types of airplanes that Air Canada runs. Things that are very interesting and important to check are the special features for accessibility. So we click on that. You need to know the seats without movable aisle armrest. So in this case, it's row 12 and row 19. So you make sure that you do not book the ones without a movable aisle armrest, because it makes it much harder to get into your seat with help if the armrest does not move. There's also, in this particular case, they do not have a wheelchair accessible washroom. Step 1. Add your wheelchair requirements at the time of booking. So once you've picked your flight and you are adding your information to the Who's Traveling section, now this is the important part for the fact that you're booking a wheelchair. Check on accessibility services and then select the option that meets the passenger's requirement. So I generally travel with my own wheelchair. So I click on traveling with own wheelchair or scooter, and we call ahead because I have to tell them what's going on. And then I have to tell them whether or not it has a battery. I have a lithium-ion battery on mine, and then requiring wheelchair assistance. Basically here, I will need assistance to and from the actual cabin seat. Because again, I can drive my own wheelchair up to the gate and down to the actual plane. But since I'm not able to walk up and down steps, I can't walk at all. I can stand with assistance. Then we will take the fact that I need assistance to and from the cabin seat, and I have to call ahead and tell them all of that wonderful stuff. So also on here is the reliability. So whether or not I'm self-reliant without a support person, self-reliant with a support person, or not self-reliant and need a support person. My second tip is to select your seat at the time of booking. I know this often costs more money, but for the peace of mind and for the reasons following, I think it's a good idea. Generally, if you need assistance on or off an airplane, you will be the first one on and the last one off. I prefer to choose a seat the closest to the front of the airplane so that when the people who help me onto the airline wheelchair and onto the plane and to my seat don't have to go very far. First of all, it is a shorter ride for me, and it's also less work for those people who are helping me. That airline wheelchair is small and uncomfortable. If you ever tried walking up and down an airplane, you will know that aisle is not very wide. Step 2, fill out the form. You go to accessibility services, and then you go down to the mobility aids and assistance. Click on that. Okay. And then we go down here since I've already booked my flight, and I've already told them I'm bringing my wheelchair, you need the form. Okay, so we need the form, and then we need to call them. But let's start with the form because this is very important. I have the Powered Mobility Aid Information Form for Air Canada. So you put in your name, address, all those wonderful things, your booking reference, whatever it is. And then we go down to the brand of your mobility aid details. So my brand is Rustin, and the model is City. And then we can continue with the weight of the battery. It's currently, with the battery, my weight of my wheelchair is 66 pounds. Now I remember this because I have filled this form out multiple times. So I actually just keep looking back at a previous form. The length is 20 inches because I go with folded because that's what they're going to be using. When I get off the chair, we fold it up and then they can carry it down onto the plane. Okay, so that's in inches. I based the width on the way the wheelchair rolls. The width is 26 inches, the length is 20 inches, and the height is 30 inches. It is a lithium ion. The watt hours, I did the calculation a long time ago, and I don't remember exactly what I did, but I have a lithium ion battery, and it's 144 watt hours. I did do the math. I'm not bringing an extra battery pack, so that's a no. Okay, so then there is no head support on my wheelchair. The arm support is part of what's going into the cargo because it doesn't come off. The same with the foot support. The joystick comes off, so I'm going to bring that into the cabin with me. The same with the belt and straps. The wheels are definitely attached to my power wheelchair. The seat cushion is attached to my wheelchair, so is the frame and these side guards. And then the assembly tools I am bringing with me. Okay, and then there are the additional instructions which I will put in here. I end up filling out this form and printing it 4 times because I need 2 for the first flight and 2 for the flight back. Step 3. Call the airline to confirm that your wheelchair will fit. And then after you fill out the form, I call them and basically read off all of this information off the form to the person on the other end to make sure that my wheelchair will fit in the airplane and get them to officially agree to that. When you do phone Air Canada to tell them about your wheelchair, be prepared to sit on hold with them for quite a while. Step 4. Check in with the accessibility services for the airline. When you check in, they will ask for the details about your wheelchair. This is where you pull out your form and you hand that to them with all of the details. You also need to attach a copy of the form to the back of your wheelchair. The person will then print out a luggage tag, which they will attach to your wheelchair. Step 5. Boarding the plane. When you are flying with a wheelchair, generally speaking, you are one of the first people onto the flight and one of the last people off that flight. They've got special people to come and lift you and help guide the airplane wheelchair. Tell them how to help you to get you from your wheelchair onto the airline wheelchair. The airplane wheelchair is very small. If you've ever looked at an aisle on an airplane, they are very narrow. Be aware And just don't be surprised at how small that wheelchair really is, because the aisles are very small. You are sitting in that airplane for a long time. And it also means that there is no point in rushing to get out to get your overhead bags or to get anything else. Just sit in that seat and wait for everybody else to get off that plane. If you've checked baggage, all the time that you normally spend waiting around for the checked baggage to come out on the carousel, you've just spent sitting on a plane. I hope these steps have helped you, and I hope you have a great flight. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Thanks for watching.